I'm Samuel Sullivan. Throughout Earth's history, the planet has experienced drastic changes over billions of years. However, over the last 70 years, humanity's impact on our planet has drastically risen. Scientists are now calling this new epoch of human driven change the Anthropocene. Starting around 1950, this new epoch was brought upon the world through a boom in industrial manufacturing, the atomic bomb, and our mass consumption of fossil fuels, all of which have altered the state of the Earth drastically. Although this is a global issue, it can also appear locally in our communities. For instance, around Yukon and Storrs, Connecticut, we can see the impact of the Anthropocene through the damming of Mirror Lake to the problematic water buildup on campus walkways and the environmental impact of synthetic substances emitted by the Yukon power plant. All these disturbances lead to one question: how do human interventions in the local hydrosphere cause a domino effect, creating further ramifications that affect the environment as a whole? One major problem we have created during the Anthropocene is water pollution. Having clean drinking water is vital for everyone, and often depends on how clean the bodies of water and tributaries in a local community are. According to the World Health Organization, if these water tributaries are filled with trash and have buildups of algae, this can be a breeding ground for disease, which can potentially affect human health throughout the food chain. One prevalent instance of this occurred in Flint, Michigan, where a change in water source led to contamination, exposing residents to health risks. As global warming threatens millions of people with droughts and water shortages, having clean drinking water is becoming a very pressing issue. This can also be seen on a local scale, with the state of our waterways around campus. Having trash and other man-made waste in these running water sources can cause us to consume contaminated water, leading to adverse health risks. But most importantly, nature itself suffers. The wildlife and plants that depend on the contaminated water will fall victim to our actions, which will only serve to compound onto previous losses of population, leading many species towards endangerment. As we continue to disrupt and pollute our local ecosystems, we will not only be disrupting the current populations, but also pose a long term threat to future generations and the sustainability of our natural environment.
Hi, this is Ethan. Synthetic substances are solids, liquids, gases that are human made. Perhaps the most talked about example of synthetic substances is air pollution. The power plant here at the University of Connecticut burns natural gas, which is less harmful to the environment than burning fossil fuels because it is more efficient and releases less greenhouse gases. UConn's power plant opened in 2006 and has allowed the university's carbon footprint to be relatively low compared to other universities. However, natural gas power plants are still a large source of air pollution. Burning natural gas creates carbon dioxide. In addition to this, some natural gas will not be combusted during this process, allowing it to reach the atmosphere in its raw form, mostly methane, which is another greenhouse gas. But how does this affect the hydrosphere? Among the other gases released when natural gas is combusted are nitrous oxide and small amounts of sulfur dioxide, the two main ingredients in acid rain. Acid rain can kill wildlife in streams, rivers, and lakes in areas where it precipitates. While acid rain can only occur when large amounts of these chemicals are released into the atmosphere, Yukon's power plant certainly contributes. Sediment starvation occurs when sediment is filtered out or removed from a water source at one location, which reduces the amount of sediment downstream. This is a huge problem in places like the Mississippi River Delta in Louisiana, which has seen a dramatic drop in sediment in the last few decades as a result of dams upstream. This is causing the delta to sink lower into the ocean due to soil compaction over time. While sediment starvation may not be as serious of an issue here in Connecticut, we can still find examples of it, including Mirror Lake. Mirror Lake was formed over a century ago, originally just a small wooden dam that allowed the lake to be not much more than a marsh. When the wooden dam was replaced with a soil dam, the water level rose to create a real lake. This new dam more heavily restricts the flow of sediments, which will no longer be able to flow down into the Fenton River and eventually to the Thames River, which lets out into the Long Island Sound. The creation of many dams like this one in the area could lead to a large enough decrease in sediment that cities like New London, which sit on the banks of the Thames River, might see a widening of the river displacing hundreds of homes and businesses which sit directly on the river bank.
I'm Tony. Yukon's continuous expansion has had lasting effects on our stormwater drainage system. Natural spaces are being replaced by additional buildings in paved areas as our university grows. Although this development creates new possibilities, it also tampers with the natural drainage mechanism that rich soil offers. Like a sponge, healthy soil takes up rainfall and releases it gradually. Groundwater supplies are replenished and floods are avoided by this natural filtration process. Rainwater can only find its way into storm drains, since continued building has left campus with less and less clean soil. This sharp rise in runoff has the potential to overburden drainage systems, causing erosion and flooding. Wide-ranging effects result from unregulated runoff. It can destroy local ecosystems, contaminate and silt up surrounding waterways, and even destroy infrastructure. A prime example of this is the building of the new South Residences, which began in 2023. The construction includes living space for 650 people and a dining facility which will hold 500 seats. This has taken up a large amount of space on campus and has limited space for sustainable drainage. How do human interventions in the local hydrosphere cause a domino effect, creating further ramifications that affect the environment as a whole? While answering this question, it has become clear that the University of Connecticut's campus has had a major impact on the local and, in some aspects, the regional hydrosphere. Trash has polluted local waterways, which can create choking hazards for wildlife and releases foreign chemicals into local ecosystems. Further, pollution is added to the hydrosphere in the form of greenhouse gases released by Yukon's power plant. Man-made lakes impede the flow of sediment and water, while vast amounts of concrete and pavement with poor drainage infrastructure lead to standing water. Yukon does, however, rank high in sustainability among other universities. The power plant uses natural gas, which produces less harmful byproducts and is more efficient. The university has also created an advanced water recycling system, has increased their use of solar panels, and will use geothermal energy to heat the new South Campus Residence Hall. But even with these steps taken by the university, it is crucial that staff and students take their own steps towards lessening the impact of the human Anthropocene on the hydrosphere. The first of these steps can include making an effort to not litter and being more conscious of energy and water usage. While the University of Connecticut sets an example for others in its adoption of sustainability practices, it is also important to understand that each individual's small actions contribute toward a bigger common goal for sustainability and ensure that we have a greener world for our future generations.